Now continue with the next section of our principles of management. In the earlier sessions, we have talked about the significance of management. We have talked about the levels of management. We have talked about definitions, meanings, many things which are required to be known regarding management. So for today, the topic is the different approaches of management. When I talk about the different approaches of management, then I mean to say that what is basically required and where and how management can be applied. Because in the earlier years, in the past, we were having management just for managing the things, but now management has been categorized into various approaches. The various approaches which are being meant for management are classical approach, behavioral approach, quantitative approach, system approach, and contingency approach. When we talk about approaches, then we are discussing about the various aspects of management, that how and when, in which ways management can be studied. So let's start. The formal study of management is largely a 20th century phenomenon, and to some degree, the relatively large number of management approaches reflects a lack of consensus. Lack of consensus means that everyone was not agreed on the same point. So the things were missing. Peoples were having different mindset. Here we have now the present approaches among management scholars about basic questions of theory and practice. So the first approach is the classical approach. The classical approach is the oldest form of formal approach of management thought. Its roots predate the 20th century. The classical approach of thought generally concerns ways to manage work and organizations. As we have discussed earlier also, what is management? Management is basically an art of managing work and the organization. Because if the work is being managed, then the organization will be automatically managed, because the things, the actions which are going on in that particular organizations are in a systematic manner. So management is basically concerned with the core level of managing people, managing work, and checking out for the discipline. So here the classical approach of thought generally concerns in ways to manage work in organizations more efficiently. Three areas of study that can be grouped under the classical approach are scientific management, administrative management, and bureaucratic management. We will be discussing all these three areas of management under classical approach separately, one by one. So let's start. The first one is scientific management. Scientific management, the concept which was given by F.W. Taylor, or we can say Frederick Winslow Taylor, in the and that's why he's known as the father of scientific management. He says that if management can be made systematic, if our workflows are moving in a systematic manner, then scientifically also principles, theories can be applied in management. Then he says, in other words, traditional rules of thumb are replaced by precise procedures developed after careful study of an individual at work. The traditional rule of thumb means the things which are going on, lingering on since years and years, now they have been replaced. Now we are having new policies, we are having new procedures, we are having new rules, and these rules, policies, procedures have been framed after having a deep study on an individual at work, the employee, the person who is at work, that what kind of problems he faces and what kind of problems can be faced by the organization. So to remove those hurdles, to remove those problems, we have scientific management. Second one, administrative management, focuses on the management process and principles of management. In contrast to scientific management, which deals largely with jobs and work at the individual level of analysis, administrative management provides a more general theory of management. Henry Fayol is the major contributor of this approach of management thought. Now, when we talk about administrative management, then we are talking about a management which is studying organization as a whole. He is studying all the aspects present in an organization, and if found any kind of loophole, that has to be removed. Henry Fayol was known as the father of administrative management because he gave the total administrative management concept, and he contributed a lot in management by giving his 14 principles of management. So moving to the next, we have bureaucratic management. Bureaucracy is the ideal form of organization we are having, or we can say bureaucratic management is ideal form of organization. Max Weber was the father of contributor to bureaucratic management. Based on observations, Weber concluded that many early organizations were inefficiently managed. That we were having the resources, we were having the peoples, but the things were not efficiently managed, so the output was also not given over there. So it's a need to manage those organizations, or to manage all the organization in an efficient manner. Efficient manner means with minimized cost and maximum output. So next he says, he proposed that a form of organization called a bureaucracy, characterized by division of labor. Work should be divided according to specialization. We should go for expertise of the person first, then the work should be allocated to him. Because if the work is not being divided according to specialization, then the person will also be not able to provide his expertise to us, and which will lead to decline in our output. Then hierarchy means the order in which our employees are settled. Formalized rules. Yes, rules, procedures and policies are very important for the organization. So we should have a code of conduct, or we can say we should have a set of rules which should be followed by each and every employee in an organization. Impersonality and the selection and promotion of employees based on ability. Very important aspect. Employees should be selected and promoted based on their abilities. The person who deserves should be promoted and selected, and the person who is not working up to the mark for the organization should not be promoted or should not be the part of the team of an organization. Would lead to more efficient management. Weber also contended that managers' authority in an organization should be based not on tradition or charisma, but on the position held by managers in an organizational hierarchy. Yes, if you are going to evaluate any employee, that appraisal, that evaluation should be done on his quality. It should not be done on the basis of charisma, because if you are going to do this, then we'll be losing some of the good aspects present in our employees. The second approach is the behavioral approach. The behavioral approach of management thought developed in part because of perceived weakness in the assumption of the classical approach. Now, those loopholes, those problems which are lying up with classical approach were now removed by the behavioral approach. It says the classical approach emphasized efficiency, process, and principles. Some felt that this emphasis disregarded important aspects of organizational life. Yes, organizational life, the environment in the organization is very important, because if we are providing an amicable, a friendly environment to the organization, to the peoples in the organization, then it will lead to our more betterment, and we'll be having more output and sound output out of that. Now, particularly as it related to human behavior. Thus, the behavioral approach focused on trying to understand the factors that affect human behavior at work. Very, very important part, that your human or your employee, the behavior between subordinates and superiors, the behavior between peers in the organization is very important. We must have soft, coordinated and healthy relations among the employees in an organization, and this only lead to a good behavior by superiors, a good behavior by leaders. If an organization is having employees with so good and smooth relation, then that organization will be rising up to great success. So the first point says human relations. Now human relation means the cordial relations among the employees in organization. An employee should have cordial and good relation among his peer group, because if you are having good relations among your peer group, then you will be not having any kind of we can say difference, that you will be receiving information from your seniors or you'll be getting information from your juniors. And if such relations does not exist, then nobody will be sharing information, and important part of an organization can be left out. So the Hawthorne human relations were finally evaluated, or human relations were finally analyzed through Hawthorne experiments. These were some experiments which were done to verify that whether these formal behavior, informal behavior, or human relations plays an important role in an organization or not. The Hawthorne experiments began in 1924 and continued through the early 1930s. A variety of researchers participated in the studies, including Elton Mayo, one of our great management scholars. One of the major conclusions of the Hawthorne studies was that workers' attitudes are associated with productivity. Productivity means to say that what output we are getting. Another was that the workplace is a social system. Yes, really correct. You are socially connected with your employees, with your peers. So if that social system does not exist in your organization, then it can be a problem. And informal group influence could exert a powerful effect on individual behavior. A third was that the style of supervision is an important factor in increasing workers' job satisfaction. The three important points which were said in Hawthorne studies, or which were verified, analyzed in Hawthorne studies, are: number one, workers' attitude associated with productivity, and then we have a social system, and then we have supervision. Workers' attitude change as per the productivity. Informal group, yes, lays an important pressure on the performance of the workers. And supervision, the person who is supervising you, or we can say your just superior, how they are behaving with you. If the behavior of superiors with juniors is not appropriate, up to mark, then it can lead to great discontainment in the employees, which can lead to further dissatisfactions. Second point says behavioral science. Behavioral science and the study of organizational behavior emerged in the 1950s and 1960s. The behavioral science approach was a natural progression of the human relations movement. It focused on applying conceptual and analytical tools to the problem of understanding and predicting behavior in the workplace. Now, in behavioral science, what we have done, we have applied some conceptual and some analytical tools to study the human behavior in an organization. The behavioral science approach has contributed to the study of management through its focus on personality, attitudes, values, motivation, group behavior, leadership, communication, and conflict, among other issues. So these were the main points which were laid stress during analysis of behavioral science. What were they? I'm again repeating: personality, attitude, values, motivation, group behavior, leadership, communication, and conflict, among other issues. So behavioral science says that if these points are controlled, or they are within the range of the organization, then employees will be working for the betterment of the organization at their maximum level. They will be trying their best to achieve the organizational objectives and to get the profits for the organization. Now, we here start with our next topic. That is one of the very important topic: contribution of Fewell and Taylor. When I talk about Fewell and Taylor, then I'm talking about two very important management personalities who had laid the foundation of management which we are studying or applying today. If I talk about F.W. Taylor, a person who has laid down the foundation for scientific management. If I talk about Fewell, Henry Fewell, a person who laid down the foundation for administrative management and supported us by giving 14 important principles of management. So let's start. Taylor's scientific management. Frederick Winslow Taylor, well known as the founder of scientific management, was the first to recognize and emphasize the need for adopting a scientific approach to the task of managing an enterprise. Now, what does Frederick Taylor analyzed and how he contributed? He contributed in the manner that how scientific approaches can be applied in the management of an organization. How organization can be managed in a scientific manner. Why don't we apply scientific rules when we are studying about our organization, when we are selecting employees for the organization, when we are promoting, when we are recruiting employees in our organization? Then why don't we apply scientific rules and processes? He tried to diagnose the cause of low efficiency in industry and came to the conclusion that much of waste and inefficiency, two important points on which Taylor laid emphasis, is much of waste and inefficiency is due to the lack of order and system in the methods of management. He found that the management was usually ignorant of the amount of work that could be done by a worker in a day, as also the best method of doing the job. As a result, it remained largely at the mercy of the workers who deliberately shirked work. He therefore suggested that those responsible for management should adopt a scientific approach in their work and make use of scientific method for achieving higher efficiency. The scientific method consists essentially of two basic notes, that is observation and management. So F.W. Taylor says that employees are working, organization is providing input, organization is providing material to the employees, but organization is not having a check on the work of the employees, that what is the output they are rightly giving to me. Is this output can be increased, or we should study why we are having low output, or we should study that how this output can be increased. Second thing, wastage of time. No scientific system and method was lying there. So this was also a main problem for an organization. Experimentation and interferences. So to find out, to analyze, to verify scientific management, Taylor has come up with some experimentation and inference results. He advocated a thorough planning of the job. The job should be very, deeply planned. We should not have job should be planned in such a manner that it is totally haphazard. The job should be planned in a systematic manner, or we can say step by step, that every step is interrelated and we are not having any kind of wastage of time during two steps. So this should be very much considered, because if we are wasting time, then it will lead to more consumption of time and low output. Then planning of the job by the management, and emphasize the necessity of perfect understanding and cooperation between the management and the workers, both of the enlargement of the profits and the use of scientific investigation and knowledge in industrial work. He summed up his approach in these words. Now, second important point said by Taylor was that administration, or we can say management, and workers should have a very, closed relationship. They should be such like that they can understand each other very well, because if management and workers are not having a good gel well among themselves, then it will not lead to good results for the organization. So if the organization wants that its profit should increase and we should have healthy relations among the organization, then management and workers should have a very good bonding among themselves. So he summed up in the following points. Science, not rule of thumb. Harmony, not discard. Science is not rule of thumb, means to say that what we have laid down cannot be changed. No, science can be changed. Scientific principles can be updated on the basis of experiments. If we say that once which is being write down or jot down in the science, it cannot be changed, then we are totally wrong. Science can be changed. Our principles can be changed. Theories can be changed if we go for further experiments. Second, cooperation, not individual. It means that in an organization, we should go in a cooperated manner. We cannot work individually. If I think that all the organizational objectives can be achieved only and only by me, sorry, it's totally a myth. I cannot achieve, or we cannot do individually in an organization. We have to take our team members with us. We have to work in a cooperative behavior. Then only the organizational objectives can be achieved. Maximum output in place of restricted output. Output should be maximum. We should not have limit for our output, that this is being decided. We have to produce so and so unit of this product in a day. No, we should plan our things in such a way that we should have maximum output in a day without any restrictions. Next point says the development of each man to his greatest efficiency and prosperity. A person, an employee should be developed. An employee should be so much promoted and kept in such a way that he must reach his maximum point of prosperity. He should be totally satisfied. He should not have any kind of dissatisfaction regarding the organization, because what happens when we have any kind of problem in the organization, it very sooner or later it creates a type of dissatisfaction among the employees. So such situations should be avoided. Elements of scientific, now these are the elements of scientific management: scientific task and rate setting, work improvement, etc., planning the task, vocational selection and training, standardization of working conditions, material equipment, etc., or we can say specialization. Mental revolution. Mental revolution means change in our thinking. So these are the important elements. Let's study these elements in detail one by one. Point 1 says scientific task and rate setting. It can be in brief said as work study. We have to study our work. The work, what we want by our employees to be done, should be studied scientifically in a very deep manner that whether it is possible or not. Work study may be defined as a systematic, objective, and critical examination of all the factors governing the operational efficiency of any specified activity in order to effect improvement. So here it says when we are talking about work study, then we are talking about a study of work. We should include all those important factors which are related to the efficiency of the employees. If I say that getting stars from the sky, no, it's not possible, because we can do only those work which are possible by an employee to do. So our work should be studied in such a manner that it should give maximum and efficient result by an employee. Second point says, now work study may include such following points: method study, motion study, time study, and fatigue study. Method study, number one point is method study. When I talk about method study, then I'm talking about the method which should be adopted for performing any task, because a task can be performed by various methods. Now it depends upon the organization that which type of method is he adopting to complete that task, whether it is a time consuming method, whether it is wasting more of energy of the employees, whether it is wasting more of the material of the organization. So method study says that the management should try to ensure that the plant is laid out in the best manner and is equipped with the best tools and machinery. The possibilities of eliminating or combining certain operations may be studied, that can or two operations can be combined jointly, that will save time. Can or two working locations settled nearby, it will also save time. So method study says that the method or the work or the machines or the tools, equipment which are lying in an organization should be very well, so that they should not put any kind of hurdle in the work of the employee. Second point, motion study. It is a study of the movement of an operator or even of a machine in performing an operation with the purpose of eliminating useless motions. Now motion study says that suppose we are producing a product which is moving from 4 steps, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now those products should move in such a manner that from step 1 coming to step 3, now to step 4, in this total motion, the time consumed must be minimum. We should not waste our time in sending goods or sending product from one unit to another, or the employees is moving from one machine to another. So this should be avoided. If we are having a proper settlement of our machines and this motion study will be done deeply and correctly, then we'll be eliminating wastage of time. Next, time study. The basic purpose of time study is to determine the proper time for performing the operations. Such a study may be conducted after the motion study. Both time study and motion study help in determining the best method of doing a job and the standard time allowed for it. Now time study says that, like we conduct exam for a study, we design the question paper, and according to us the time taken for solving that question paper is 3 hours. So in the same manner, an organization should study the time consumed in completing a task, because if such a study will be done, then it is very easy for an organization to make a comparison between the standard time and the actual time taken by the employee, so that we can check that whether we are wasting some time, and if yes, we are wasting some time, then where, and that wastage of time should be eliminated. Next, fatigue study. If a standard task is set without providing for measures to eliminate fatigue, it may either be beyond the workers or the workers may overstrain themselves to attain it. It is necessary, therefore, to regulate the working hours and provide for rest pauses at scientifically determined intervals. Now, fatigue study basically means the study which is totally done on employees, that up to how much hours employee can work on a regular basis, after how much time employee need a break, after how much time employee should have a lunch break. So fatigue study is basically a study on the working of the employees, that where the employees get tired. Because if we want that employee should work on a regular basis, since he come in the morning till the evening he leaves the organization, and we want that he should work on a regular basis, then it will lead to low performance of the employee and his energy will also be getting down and down day by day, and our output will also be getting minimized. So fatigue study is very important for an organization, so that he can decide that how many hours an employee should work and after how many hours he need any kind of break or interval. So this is what is known as fatigue study. Next, rate setting. Taylor recommended the differential piece wage system, under which workers performing the standard task within prescribed time are paid a much higher rate per unit than inefficient workers who are not able to come up to the standard set. Now, rate setting basically means that we should have a parameter for the employees, that if you perform this task or if you produce so and so units in such time, then you will be paid more, or the higher rate will be paid to those workers who will be performing their work under the given task and time. Because this will lead to a motivation factor in the employees also, that if he can do, why can't me, or I cannot do. So rate setting basically means determining a rate for the work done by the employee, and higher rate should be paid to that particular employee who is working appropriately under that particular parameter. Next, planning the task. The task should be planned, because everyone knows a task which is unplanned always leads to any kind of problem. So we should plan the task before it starts. Having said the task which an average worker must strive to perform to get wages at the higher piece rate, necessary steps have to be taken to plan the production thoroughly, so that there is no bottlenecks and the work goes on systematically. If you want to apply piece rate setting system in your organization, then you should remove all the bottlenecks related to that particular work, so that employee can also perform that work in a determined time, and he will be also able to give you the maximum output. Next, selection training. Scientific management requires a radical change in the methods and procedures of selecting workers. It is therefore necessary to entrust the task of selection to a central personnel department. The procedure of selection will also have to be systematic. Proper attention has also to be devoted to the training of the workers in the correct methods of work. Selection training. Scientific selection training means that a proper decision regarding the selection of workers should be done. The workers who are selected should be very well tested. Their their interview should be conducted in a systematic and scientific manner. Because if we select the wrong person for the organization, then the organization will be suffering for large up to a great time. So to avoid such problem, we should go for a good selection and training method. At the same time, trainings should also be arranged for the employees, so that updation can be done on a regular basis. Standardization. Standardization may be introduced. Standardization, as you know, upgradation or updation. Now, updation and upgradation in what manner? Tools and equipments, tools and machineries of an organization should be very well managed, and they should be kept in a good form. By standardization is mean the process of bringing about uniformity. Uniformity means same. The management must select and store standards and implements which will be nearly the best or the best of their kind. The machineries, the equipment we are using or we are asking our employees to use should be of best quality, and they should be standard one. Speed. There is usually an optimal speed for every machine. If it exceeded, it is likely to result in damage to machinery. In the chance of producing more goods, in the chance of giving maximum output, we should not run machines at a very faster pace. Machines should be run as per the speed or as per the norms mentioned regarding the speed, because if we are moving at a very high speed, or if we are working on a very high speed in the machines, it will lead to damaging the machine. Next, conditions of working. Conditions of working means environment to the employees. To attain standard performance, the maintenance of standard conditions of ventilation, heating, cooling, humidity, floor space, safety, etc. is very essential. Or we can say the basic necessities which are required by an employee, like we can say clean water, hygienic conditions, or if I talk about summers, then cooling conditions, ventilation. This all should be provided because they motivate the employees. And if employees are not having a good working condition, or we can say working environment, then it can lead to dissatisfaction in the employee. and we don't want any kind of dissatisfaction because it will lead to minimization materials. How you are handling the material and which quality of material you are using, it's of very important, because if your material is not a quality product, or it is not a very standard product, then it can lead to problem in the quality, and then it will be leading to dissatisfaction by the customers in the market. Specialization. Scientific management will not be complete without the introduction of specialization. As I have told earlier also, division of work or work should be divided in such a manner that it should be given to the person or to the employee according to his expertise or area of specialization. So here we come up. Under this plan, the two functions of planning and doing are separated in the organization of the plant. The functional foremen are specialists who join their heads to give thought to the planning of the performance of operations in the workshop. Taylor suggested 8 functional foremen under his scheme of functional foremanship. Now, Taylor has given a very broad topic, or we can say a very broad head, functional foremanship. Now, who are these functional foremen? Functional foremen includes all those persons or employees who join their heads, who completely brainstorm for giving best ideas and concepts to the organization. Now they include the route clerk to lay down the sequence of operation and instruct the workers concerned about. Route clerk is the person who tells about the route, or we can say the way in which the work has to be moved. Second, the instruction card clerk to prepare detailed instructions regarding different aspects of work. Every work in an organization has its different aspect. Now, in which aspect that particular work has to be done, it will be decided by the instruction card clerk. The time and cost clerk to send all information relating to their pay to the workers and to secure proper returns of work from them. Means salary, monetary benefits, the one of the most important benefit expected from every employee, that is to be maintained by the time and cost clerk. The shop disciplinarian to deal with cases of breach of discipline and absentees. Breach of discipline means if you violate any rule of the organization, that will lead to breach of discipline, and absentees means much of leaves from your work. It is a moral duty of an employee that under extreme emergencies, under extreme critical conditions, an employee should go for leave or absentees. Otherwise, one should be regular present to his work. We should not have any kind of leaves without any specific reason. Then we come to the gang boss, to assemble and set up tools and machines and to teach the workers to make all their personal motions in the quickest and best way. Now, gang boss is the person who assemble all tools and machineries at one place and makes employees also to make that their personal emotions in the quickest and best way should be kept at one place. The speed boss to ensure that machines are run at their best speed and proper tools are used by the workers. As I told you earlier also, if the machines are in the chance of getting more output, if the machines are run at a very fast pace or at a very fast speed, they can lead to damaging of machines. So to avoid this damaging of machines, we have the speed boss, which will control the speed of the machines. The repair boss to ensure that each worker keeps his machine in a good order and maintains cleanliness around him and his machines. Repair boss is basically responsible for the maintenance of the machineries, because if the machineries are not very well maintained, then they will be not able to give that required amount of output which we want or expect. The inspector to show to the worker how do the work. Now, inspector is a person who inspects workers that how they are doing their work, whether they are doing their work appropriately or any kind of changes are being required or any kind of instructions should be given by their seniors to the juniors to do their work. Next we come to mental revolution. At present, industry is divided into two groups, management and labor. Now, when I talk about two groups, management and labor, then we are talking about two particular categories. If I talk about management, then I'm talking about the category which is giving instructions or which is managing the labor. And if I talk about the labor class, then I'm talking about that employees or that personnel which is working on at operational level. Because both the levels are important, management, the top level, labor, the lower level. But if it does not have synchronization between the two, it can lead to great problems in an organization. So both the levels or both the types should be very well synchronized. The major problem between these two groups is the division of surplus. The management wants the maximum possible share of the surplus as profit. The workers want as large share in the form of wages. Taylor has in mind the enormous gain that arises from higher productivity. Such gains can be shared both by the management and the workers in the form of increased profits and increased wages. So here the problems comes, very correct. Management and labor. The basic problem with, thank you. Achha. The basic problem which lies between the two is that of money. The management wants that more and more money should be given in the form of profit to the management, and the labor wants that more and more money should be given to them as wages. Now, Taylor has come up to solve with the problem. He says that if we increase the wages as the profit increases, then this problem can be solved very easily. Management should consider the needs and requirement of the employees. If management wants more profit, then he should also give more wages to the laborers and the problem will be solved. Next we come to now the very important, most important part, Henry's 14 principles of management. Henry Fayol has given us 14 principles of management which should be applied in an organization by each and everyone if you want your organization to run successfully. So let's start with our next topic and the most important topic of management which has to be studied by each and every management practitioner. So here is Fayol's 14 principles of management. First of all says division of work. The work should be divided in such a manner that we should keep into mind our specialized personalities or expertise of the employees. The work should be given to employees in the manner they are having expertise, because if the work is not given as per their expertise, then we will be not getting that output which is required. Second, authority and responsibility. Authority and responsibility says that authority and responsibility should go parallel, way to way. Because if the person is authorized, then at the same time he must also be responsible for that particular task or work. And if you want to fulfill that particular work by any person, then he should also be authorized to take decisions, power to make decisions and to bring any kind of changes required. Discipline. Discipline means the work should be systematic. We should maintain the proper decorum required in the organization, and if we go step by step for working, then it will be very easy for us and we'll be getting systematic results and we'll be having a system developed to perform any particular task. Next, unity of command. Command should be given by one senior only. If we will be having many seniors giving command to the employees, or the employees getting command from various superiors, then it will be making confusion to them and they will be not able to perform any particular task because they will be getting command from various directions or from various peoples, which will be leading to unnecessary confusions. Next, unity of direction. All the members of organization or the efforts of all the employees of an organization should be moved into the same direction, that is organizational objectives, and we should be collectively accomplishing the objectives of organization. Next, subordinates or personal interest to general interest or common interest. Management or managers should not always think about their interest, only their interest. Their interest should be subordinate to the employees also, because whatever we are earning, whatever we are getting, that all we are getting from the efforts of our employees only. Next, remuneration. Fair salaries, fair pay is always required by every employee. So an organization should make such a salary packages that it should be justified as per the work of the employees. Centralization. All the authority and power should lie in center. If you want to make any decisions, or the employee has to go for any kind of problem, they have to give any kind of message or information, then we must be having a center point, because if the things are centralized, we will be having centralization in our organization, then decisions will also be very well taken. A scalar chain. A scalar chain means the chain or order of hierarchy. Our employees should be interconnected in such a manner that we will be following a chain which will be giving a hierarchy to all of us. Order means that everything should be arranged in a systematic order, either 1, 2, 3, 4 or ABCD. An order should be followed, because if the things are not placed in an order or they are not systematic, then they will be leading to unnecessary confusions and problems in the work. Equity means every employee of an organization should be treated equally. No biasness should be shown with any employee. Every employee should be getting same rights, and same rules and policies should be applied for each and everyone. Because if it is not done, then it will be a great point of dissatisfaction in the employees. Next, stability of tenure. We should try that our employees should be stable and should be with us for a very long time, and employees should also be with us for a long time unless very great problem arise. Spirit of cooperation. Esprit de corps means that every employee should come up with some initiative. He or she must be ready with some new ideas, new concept, and that new ideas and new concepts should be told to the management, should be told to their superiors, so that those concepts and ideas can be applied. Initiative, we should be initiator. Creative thinking will lead to the new initiatives, and every employee should take initiatives so that we can give new ideas and new concepts to our manager. That's all for today. Thank you everyone.